You are now listening to a member of the Disney Podcast family. Head over to Disney Podcast Family on Instagram to see all the latest posts for this show and links to other great Disney podcasts.
Melissa Pilgrim is our choice for your next Disney vacation. You can reach her at amagicalpilgrimage@gmail.com. We thank her for her support.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las puertas.
Here's a wild ride into wisdom.
So today on Miles from Main Street, we got Brian and we got Kylo here. How we doing today?
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Good to see everyone here.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be here. It's good to get on a roll with this podcast. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes, I'm really enjoying going live.
Yeah, the liveness is really cool. Speaking of that, if you have anything to say in the comments, go ahead and fill the comments. We'll read probably pretty much everything.
Right?
We probably won't get all that much, but if you have anything to say about what we're talking about, feel free to comment away. Brian, do you have anything to add?
Well, of course, we need to go out and share the show with a friend. If you're loving what you're seeing, please let other people know about us so they can come and have some fun with us. We are live Wednesday nights, and we will put the podcast out on Tuesday mornings, just like as always. And yeah, hit that like and subscribe button as well.
And you guys are getting the live and the YouTube version with video, but we also have a just straight podcast version that you can find on Spotify and pretty much anywhere you
Podcasts.
Get podcasts.
Shout out to the Apple Podcast fans. That makes up most of our listening audience.
Woo!
So thank you for listening. And speaking of shout outs, actually, a spoonful of podcast commented about our new country from last week. They said they would like to see the Republic of Congo.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that country, so I don't have much I can say on it, but they did say that it gives a lot of really neat ride options. So I think that'd be a fun one to look into. So I'm going to have to do that. I am a fan. Wow. I am a fan of African culture, so I got to go see what that's about.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you guys for commenting and listening to what we had to say. So tonight, this is something that's pretty near and dear to my heart that we're going to be talking about. We are talking about Ron on the Go. You can see I'm sporting Ron merch. I'm a big fan. I love Ron on the Go. And what I want to do first is kind of like explain who Ron is and kind of what Ron does. So Ron on the Go, he is a live streamer. He goes live at the parks. I think now at this point, he goes live at the parks almost every day. And so a live streamer is somebody who will go into the parks and stream the parks and just kind of walk around and do rides and eat food and stuff like that. And just kind of show you the experience of what they're doing. I like it because it's something that it kind of makes you feel like you're there. And with the live factor, you're seeing everything that's happening at Disney, right away. Like it's happening right in front of you pretty much. I used to watch a lot of like vloggers, and that made me feel like I was going to the parks. And so watching live streamers that brings it to like the next level of like really feeling like you're a part of the action, but you're also like hundreds of miles away.
I remember you saying once that it's like being there with a friend.
Exactly.
And, it's different than a vlog. A vlog, you can in half an hour see an entire day's worth of stuff that they've done, right?
Yeah.
But a live streamer, they have to wait in the line. They have to actually ride the ride. They, will eat the food. And so it's fun to do that with them, even though you're not there. But it also gives you tips on what you want to do when you go. And they're showing you how it works as they're going through the day. So it's, it's not just fun to sit there, but it's informative.
Yeah. And so we've got the Mickey File podcast says, hello, good to see you guys. And also Captain Crunch says, hey guys. And that's another thing I want to touch on is kind of like the community aspect of these live streamers. And I mean, I feel like I have friends in these comment sections now of these live streams. And I have to say, Ron on the Go's comment section really does kind of like feel like a community. It's just really cool to be able to interact with people. The comment section is kind of like its own beast sometimes. Like Ron will be doing his thing, and then maybe there's like a conversation happening in the comment section, like about something completely different from what Ron is doing. And that happens with a lot of different live streamers. But I do feel like what Ron has going with the type of community that he has, really it feels nice and wholesome, and like he's doing it for the right reasons. And he's just kind of like, he's just bringing us entertainment. And all of the people that support him are awesome. And to go along with that, he also now kind of works with a bunch of different live streamers, ones that are at Disney World, and then one that's at Disneyland, Coda Bear the Explorer. So it's just really cool that like he helps out all of these other live streamers and other live streamers that are slightly bigger than him. He will just constantly forward those live streams out to people. So just a really cool community that he has going on there. Anyways, so Ron on the Go, he's a live streamer. Something that I like about Ron is his personality. He's definitely interesting. He's an interesting guy. And one thing that I know personally, because I've met him a couple of times now, is that when he puts the camera down, he is the same Ron. It's actually really cool to see. It's like he's the same guy from like doing a live stream to just like hanging out, like just like riding the tram back to your car. He's just like the same guy, and it's so genuine. Like the way that he acts, where it's like I could see certain people. I mean, I don't really know this, but I could see certain people that like vlog or do live streams like act completely different off camera. And I mean, I've heard that too from people, that certain people are like different people off camera. But Ron, it was just so funny to see how he's just the same guy, just the same guy as from when he's on stream than when he's off stream. And so that's just really cool to see. I'd like to give shout outs to people. Kristen Henning says Ron definitely brought the live streaming community together, in my opinion. And I would say, yeah. I know I was kind of into live streaming, not like super heavily, probably like a couple years ago, but like as soon as Ron kind of like started to really blow up, he kind of, I feel like he brought a lot of people together, with that type of community. Captain said, glad to hear you say that. We really love the community that's formed. And I mean, Cap is kind of a big part of that too. I think he's a moderator on Ron's streams, and I think on other streams as well. And they just do a really good job of making sure that that chat is being good and everybody's playing by the rules in the chat. So that's always really cool. Kim Possible is here. Kim is another one that I feel like I've actually kind of bonded within this community, and so she's really cool. I see her a lot in Coda's streams, and so we will talk back and forth. And she says hello everyone, and we've got our own little chat going. Kawaii Kitty is another one that I'm always happy to see in the chat, and we'll talk back and forth. So it's really thank you guys so much for being here, because this is really cool to see you out here, and we are so very new to this going live game, and so this is kind of honestly is this our like 4th or 5th time going live?
Maybe 5.
Yeah,
we did a couple before you were back, and yeah. Yeah, it's fun to see this. I tend to watch during the day, and I try to comment here and there. You guys probably don't know me as well, but I do try to get out there once in a while and say hello. But I'm working during the day, and it's hard for me to be on there. So, but I almost every day will have it on. So feel free to say hi to me as we're going. But
and I think
let's see everyone here.
Yeah, I think Brian has his own account that is Miles from Main Street, dash Brian.
Flip it around, Brian dash.
Yeah, Brian dash Miles from Main Street. But then I'm the Miles from Main Street in there most of the time. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Kawaii says, "Hey Brian."
Hey.
Cool. So, some of the things that I'd like to talk about with Ron, we've kind of already talked about like the community and how wholesome not necessarily wholesome, but like how genuine his content is. One of the things that he does, which I've heard some people say like, oh, this is a bad thing, but he kind of does some of the same things a lot. And one of those things is to go check out the piano players and the glass blowers. And I mean, it makes sense because it's good live streaming content. It's just kind of like getting entertainment in front of people, and just like letting that entertainment go. Like the glass blowers they're constantly talking to him about like what they're doing, and they're addressing the group that's there. And I feel like, honestly, for me, I would never go in there before Ron. I mean, sometimes I would like pass through that area with the glass blowers, and I think I've gone back there a couple times, but I've never like stopped and like watched. And with Ron doing all of that and live streaming that constantly, it's really become something that like even when Ron's not in the park, because I've actually most of the time I'll just catch him in there because he'll spend so much time there that like most of the time that's where he's like stationary for a long time. But yeah, that's something that like even with Ron going there, like I never really understood like what was all happening back there.
Kawaii is saying, I didn't even know the glass blowers were there until I saw Ron stream. You know, I'm the same way. How many times have I been there? I'd never even known that was back there until he was doing that. So, you know, as you're saying, like I've watched, I don't know how many times now, and he will hit up the same things. But that's okay because you're seeing things that you might not even have time to do, right? Like when I'm there with my family, we tried to stop and listen to the piano player, but it was like, we got to go. And it was Grayson playing, and I wanted to stay and listen, and because he's great. But you know, it's nice to be able to see that at home and get some of the things that you might not be able to experience while you're there with your family running all over the place. You can see it, you know, like I actually said to my wife the other day when the Dapper Dans were on, I'm like, I've seen them sing on TV. I don't know how many times, but I don't know that I've ever actually been able to stop and listen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so true. Kristen Henning says, love stopping at the piano now every trip. And that's, I mean, just so you guys know, Kristen is my wife. And yeah, it's like some of these things that we don't typically do or like even knew about, now they've become part of our trip. And I think it's crazy that like now we know these piano players' names. Like before, it was just like some random guy that would come out and play piano. And now like it's become much more than just like random entertainment. And it's all because of Ron, just because of like Ron just constantly does these things. Another thing that I always thought was funny is when Ron would do the not the bumper cars, but the Autopia. No, Autopia is Disneyland.
Tomorrowland Speedway.
Tomorrowland Speedway. And he would. I think this one got really big, and that's when he would do the skirt cars, because some of the cars, if you can't really brake, but if you let off the gas quick enough, they'll actually like skid. And so that was his thing for a long time. It used to be like fireworks and then the Speedway. Cap said, same, I had no idea the glass blower is on site. Now I'm $200 into them. Oh, yeah. I believe that. I don't think Kristen and I have dropped any money on anything. But, oh, yep, here we go. We missed out on the viral Halloween party pumpkin. That's what we wanted to get. That was going to be like our first thing. But we missed out on it. But yeah, it's definitely something now that we want to start putting money towards. And look, Ron's helping Disney. he's helping us part us with our money to Disney. But yeah, that's definitely something I want to do. But yeah, he just always has kind of those like you know what he's gonna go do, for the most part. And so I think that's for some people that's just very calming, that like you kind of know like what you're gonna get from Ron. Kim says, yeah. Hi Kristen, I need a pumpkin now.
When I first started watching Ron, I had trouble with it because it was the same thing. But what I'm finding is that he's really pointing out trends. He's pointing out when to go do things. Like the big thing that he does is that as soon as the parade passes by him in Frontierland, he's running over to Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a lot of those little tricks, and great places to sit in some of the shows, different things like that. And it's nice to be able, like I said earlier, you get tips along the way watching these guys and watching Ron. And he's really doing that. He's, his thing is free to do, and he's really showing you how to skirt around Genie Plus, and mm-hmm. he's really finding, ways to, showing you ways to enjoy the parks without having to buy the Kool-Aid, maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense. Another thing that he does, you mentioned the parade. I love it when he does like the double parade, where he has his spot where he always watches the parade and then runs to go get like the very end of the parade. So you get double parade when you watch. And it's funny, this started to happen even before watching Ron. But that Festival of Fantasy parade, I think for me, that's like the best parade that Disney's put together. And so it's really cool that like, I mean, anytime Ron's at the park, he's going to give you the parade. So I think that's really cool. Kristen said, a good old turn and burn. Kappa Crudge said, buy the Kool-Aid. I love that. So yeah, Ron just kind of, you always know what you're getting from Ron. And now he's kind of started to do those, no plan, live streams where he just kind of like goes wherever. And I think that's really cool because it kind of like, you don't really know what you're going to get, but like he kind of goes off and like does, like the typical things that he'll do, only kind of like, you never know like where he's going to venture off to. I do like his Epcot vlogs or Epcot live streams. And something that recently happened with him that we can talk about is he had been getting taken down by YouTube because of the music in the fireworks at Epcot. I haven't really been following that whole saga, but I hope that I think what had happened. I'm sure there's people in the comments that know this better, but wasn't it like National Geographic did something on the parks, and so now all of a sudden that music is copyright written.
I just saw, and guys, if I get this wrong, let me know. But I just saw a thing that Nat Geo had a show about Luminous, I believe, and Epcot, and so he was a couple of nights before that. I think it was last week, Monday. Now, he was streaming it, and he was taken down. The live stream was shut down, and it took him a couple of days of arguing with YouTube about it, and they actually put his video from that day back up, and kind of won his appeal, but he was a little disappointed because they wouldn't explain anything to him. So that's unfortunate, but they took away the warning, which was important. And the nice thing about all of it is that he was immediately telling the other live streamers, like, don't go over there.
Yeah.
It's off limits. So he really does help out all the other people out there doing it, and they will tell you that. So
yeah, and that's crazy too. And I'm sure I mean, it sucks that they're not explaining anything, but I'm sure it was just like an algorithm thing, just the way that they make these algorithms to find copywritten content and just automatically pull it. I'm sure that's what happened. And then once Ron kind of explained what was going on, they realized kind of what was going on. So
Kristen says the music from Luminous is now available to stream. So not sure if that's what made it okay to stream now again. Yeah, I don't know.
And it's funny, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I loved the music for the old Epcot fireworks. Harmonious. Loved that music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So his YouTube contact, this is Captain Crunch letting us know that his YouTube contact said that the flagging was a mistake. Wasn't sure why he got tagged. He ran it again on Monday without a problem.
Cool.
So I'm glad to hear that. It's nice to be able to go watch Luminous. I have trouble with Luminous. I don't know. Like I said, I preferred Harmonious better. We got to watch it without fireworks, and we got bored. It was also distracting because it started raining in the middle of it, which is why there were no fireworks. But I've watched it again on TV, and I haven't. I still was kind of bored with it. Whereas Harmonious, I only got to see it on TV, and I really enjoyed it. So I don't like to make judgments on shows without seeing it live. So
seeing it full.
I'll leave Luminous to actually see the whole thing live for a change before I really come down on it. But
yeah,
so
and
it was better on Harmonious.
Yeah, and this is another thing that I kind of want to talk about, and that is, so when Luminous came out, Ron did I think it was like a week straight of just going and watching Luminous, and it was funny to see, each time he saw it, there was something else that he thought was cool, and he was like, you know what, I think I'm starting to like this, and towards the end he was really into Luminous. So that was cool to see. I mean, he did go and see it for a week straight, so I thought that was really cool. And so that is another thing that Ron will do, is that wasn't necessarily a challenge, but something Ron will do is kind of all day streams of something. So I think the most recent one was Test Track. And so he'll just ride a ride just all day. That's what he does. I think the first one that I ever saw was his all day People Mover. And I don't know if that was like the very first one that he did of like the all days. But that was kind of like right around like when I found Ron and started to really get into Ron. I thought that one was cool. He was like so close, and then at the end, I think he got evac'd. And that's kind of become a thing too. Well, that was a thing then. It's kind of like phased out now. Every so often when he gets on something, I'll chant evac, evac, evac. Cap says train first and then people mover. Cap would know. But yeah, that's he got like right towards the end. He got evac'd from People Mover. I think another one that he's done is Pirates, and he is just cursed with Pirates. I think he tried, I think like 3 times to do an all day Pirates stream, and all 3 times he got like Pirates just went down almost all day. I think. So he's just cursed from doing all day Pirates. Cursed pirate shirt. Yep. And which sucks because I feel like that would be a good all day one. I really enjoy Pirates. And so that would be fun, but that's another fun thing that he does. And I think he's constantly kind of like looking for new type of content to do, and stuff like that. For a while, this was another one of those things where it's like he would just kind of do this almost every day, not every day, but he would get a Sully shake. I remember that was a while ago. He just recently got one and said like he hasn't had one in a while. But that's another thing that he does is he doesn't really eat on stream. He'll talk about going to Chick-fil-A later, and he'll talk about like what he's gonna go do and go eat. But he tries not to eat on stream.
The other day he was talking about that, and he was like, "Nope, that's boring. I'm not gonna eat on stream."
Yep, yeah. Which like, and I'm not gonna speak ill of any other live streamers, but that is definitely something that some live streamers do, where they'll just like put the camera down and they'll just eat. But I mean, some do it better than others. Some will like constantly check chat and kind of keep things going. But some like they'll just like eat and they'll comment on what they're eating and stuff like that, and not really. It just kind of seems like I'm sitting and watching someone eat rather than interacting with somebody. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And there's some live streamers out there that do that. And I remember when I first got into watching live streamers, there's people like Ron and then other live streamers that I would watch. And like Brian said, Ron is taking you through the park. Like you're experiencing what Ron is experiencing. And he doesn't skip the line. So if it's a 45-minute wait, you're waiting online with Ron for 45 minutes to get onto the ride. But the cool thing is that Ron, I feel like if I was in a line with Ron in real life, he'd do a really good job of keeping everybody entertained, because that's what he does while live streaming. Is just like he just entertains us with things that he wants to talk about or like different parts of the queue. But I would watch these live streamers kind of early. I feel like people have gotten away from it now, but early on in my live streaming venture, I would just watch people live stream in queues, and they would just call out where people were from. They'd be like, Kevin from California, John from Pennsylvania, and like that was the entire queue experience, was just calling out where people were from. And I feel like a lot of live streamers have gotten away from that. But I feel like Ron really does a good job of just keeping us entertained. We do a good amount of that ourselves in the chat and stuff like that.
I kind of credit him with, you said you guys were saying that he brought the YouTube community together. I think he brought the streaming community out too, because prior to finding him, because I remember one day like nobody's on, I don't like that person, and I saw him on, and I'm like, okay, who's this guy? Let's try this guy out. And I was hooked on that. And nobody else was really streaming like he does.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he's shown people how to do it and has made it popular again. Like for a while there was some dead air. Like you couldn't find a good live stream. And now, people are on all the time. And so it's nice to see that. And it's nice to see him working with those people. It's, I kind of lost my thought because Captain Crunch came in here and said, you said it perfectly that Ron is the same off stream as he is on stream. He's just a normal guy. He's a buddy that you're going to the park with and waiting to get on a ride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's what makes watching Ron's live streams and like going through the park with him so like it just feels like you're going through the park with a friend. Because he's so entertaining. And he's like naturally entertaining. He's not like trying to like start something or something like that. It's just he's like just naturally an entertaining guy. And so I think that's why it works so well. And that's why like I mean, sometimes there will be like dead air of like there's nothing happening. And Ron is like doing something in the background or something like that. But like it never feels stale. Like it always feels like and especially like with the community and everything, like it definitely feels like there's always something going on. You're at the park with a friend, and you're having fun.
Yeah, and as I was saying, like he's really changed how streaming is done. So, you were talking about his no plan Mondays, and I think he's down to once a month on those. But I love those because he's out on Walter. He's out in the resort, right? And he's actually like in the hotels, and he's in different areas. But he'll basically go to the bus stop and grab whichever the bus is, the first bus that shows up, and off you go. So he's bouncing between a hotel and a park. And he might get to a park and he'll go in, like he'll get to Magic Kingdom and he'll go in and watch the glass blower, and then he'll go watch a piano player, and then maybe it's time for the parade, right? And then he heads on out and he grabs a bus and he'll show us around Old Key West. And and I like that because for me, Disney is more than just the parks. It's the resorts and getting to go grab beignets at the French Quarter or getting noodles at Tambu Lounge instead of having to eat at Ohana. And that's stuff that I like to see too. And I think it's helpful for other people to see that so that they can go and experience those things too and see how it works.
Mm-hmm. And he's very knowledgeable with everything, and he's kind of constantly giving you tips. Kawaii Kitty says, yes, makes me want to do my own no plan day on vacation so we can see things we don't normally. And it's funny. I struggle with things like that on vacations because we are constantly planning things out. So it's really cool to just see Ron be able to just go through the day. And like it like I said, he's very knowledgeable. So it shows you that you can just kind of like show up to Disney and have a pretty cool day with like just going with the flow. The way he does it is definitely interesting with just catching like wherever that first bus takes him is where he's going. But he's very knowledgeable. He knows the parks very well. He always has something to say and some tip to give you about certain things. So it's really cool to see him kind of like go through his day that way. And he's comfortable pretty much anywhere, like at any resort, any park. Speaking of that too, he will also go to Universal when they were doing the Mardi Gras parade. He'd end up at Universal at night for the Mardi Gras parade. And it became a thing about like how many beads did he catch. And he's just a smart guy. He comes up with formulas and ideas for everything. I think at one point he was like, if I have this many beads, it's 30. If I have this many beads, it's 40 or something like that. It's just he's a smart dude. He's just very smart and very knowledgeable with all of that stuff.
So you've gushed over him for a while now. How about some of the things that he does that are your favorites?
Some of the things that Ron does that are my favorites. I think parade, the way that he shoots the parades, that's one of my favorites. And I think that kind of comes from I really enjoy the parade. Um,
It's not easy.
it's not easy, and it's funny. It's become like the glass blower, the piano player. Oh, another thing I love that he does is it's not just the Main Street like Casey's piano players. Like he'll go to the UK to watch those piano players too. That's really cool. Oh yeah, Cap says Phantasmic. Ron does Phantasmic so well. It's the hot zoom action. Everything he does with that is really cool. Kristen says the Jameters. Oh, we both did it at the same time. Kristen says watching him with the Jameters in Epcot is really cool. Just a little bit ago, he actually. This is so funny that these two people. I mean, my friend who plays in the Jameters would remember me, but it's so cool that I'm in Ron's head enough, like he is aware of me, that he remembers that with the Jameters and Jason. That he went to go talk to Jason with the Jameters and remembered that Jason knows me, and they talked about me a little bit. So that was really cool to see. And then later, Ron messaged me and said that he talked to Jason and that he was on the live stream. So that was really cool. But yeah, well, and that was another thing. And this just kind of shows how cool Ron is. There was one time that Ron was live streaming and he was in Epcot and Kristen and I were there and we were trying to track him down and we were watching his stream and told him like, oh, hey, we're in the courtyard area. And I think he made fun of us like the courtyard area, that could be anywhere. But he found us, like he remembered what I looked like and then started to like zoom in on me. And I thought that was so cool. And then later he photobombed us. He's done this twice now, where we'll be getting pictures, with PhotoPass cast members and he'll just be in the background. So that's always really cool. But yeah, he's just super cool with that. And just a really, really awesome guy. But yeah, I think that is a testament to his memory as well. That he can just remember all of these people and remembers what I looked like. But yeah, I think just kind of like how genuine he is. I think that's one of my favorite things too.
One of the things that I do enjoy getting from him is that he will point out what a line actually is.
Yeah.
So if you walk by and it's a 60-minute wait, he can look at it and be like, that's not 60 minutes. And, he'll tell you like it might be 30 or 40. He's gotten to that point. He's been there enough that he knows these lines and he knows what they actually might be. Which is why he knows he can run into pirates after the parade.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's his experience of being there every day that gets those tips to you. So, like being able to, and you got to watch him enough to become a Peter Pan line whisperer like Kristen.
I was about to say that we need to get Ron and Kristen hanging out for a while because Kristen is the Peter Pan whisperer. She'll look at that. She'll only see that the queue isn't outside and she'll be like, that's not 60 minutes. And we'll get in the queue and it's definitely not 60 minutes. But yeah, it's crazy. We need to get those two together and have a day where they just, maybe that's good content for Ron. Just go like for each ride that he gets, he goes up to, he needs to guess what the wait time is going to be. And then he goes on and then he sees how correct or incorrect he was with it. That would be kind of a cool one.
That'd be fun, yeah.
One of the things that I like that and this just shows, I don't know if this shows how often he's there and often he sees these fireworks, but I love the fact that he'll just like count down and be like 3, 2, 1, here we go, bum, ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba, and it just like happens like perfectly. I mean, and that's just, I mean, Ron is so detail oriented that he's like looking at the seconds, which is still cool. But it's just how like he just does that so often so that he knows exactly like when things are going to happen.
Yeah, he does a really good job. Well, I think we've covered just about everything. Is there anything more you need to add?
I mean, nothing's really come to mind. I think he's great. We on the podcast so Miles from Main Street, we're really about being miles from Main Street because we're in Wisconsin, so we're very far away. And so this is definitely one of those things that makes us feel more connected to the parks, is watching live streamers. So we'll probably talk about some more live streamers. Maybe we might get some live streamers on the podcast. That would be cool. But this is definitely something that is near and dear to our hearts because we can't be at Disney all the time. So being able to watch people at Disney, enjoying Disney, and kind of taking us along with the ride is really great. So I appreciate it.
And it really did get us through COVID, which led us to start the podcast. So we were kind of watching those live streams together and enjoying that. So yeah, Captain Crunch, Kauai, Kristen, everybody that's here, thank you so much for commenting, talking to us. It was great having you guys here. Kim, it's really great to see the community come out and talk to us, and we're loving doing this. I hope you guys will be back next week. Like as we said, we're recording on Wednesdays live, and we're doing episodes every Tuesday. So if you can hit that like and subscribe button and do that on your Apple Podcast player as well, and share it with a friend, that would be great. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram, and of course here on YouTube. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming out and watching this with or I guess hanging out with us for a little while here.
Yeah, it really means a lot to see everybody coming and hanging out with us. But like we always say, some live close,
but others don't.
So let's talk about it. We'll see you next time on Miles from Main Street.